Yeah, I mean it's a pretty cut and dry system where you truly, there's not a regional qualification system. It's really you run one of the 16, or if you're lucky, they'll take a few more than 16 fastest times in all of Division II. And if you do that, you get to punch your ticket. There's a lot of cross-country All-Americans from this last fall that aren't going to nationals. And to be able to qualify, as comfortable as Moriah did, and to be able to get in sort of on the razor's edge like Armando did by 0.12 seconds over the course of a 3+ mile race, that's a pretty big testament to both the quality of performances they have and truly being elite level on the national side of things. Yeah, I mean the biggest thing we've seen in Armando's growth over the last couple of months is really just his finishing kick side of things. He's been a grinder. He's been someone that's been able to lock into a pace and just be able to work and to hurt in the middle of races on a very high level. And he's been doing a lot of his training with one of our freshmen, Brock Eves, who's more of an 800 meters and miler, and their skill sets kind of complement each other. They really push each other in the spots that they really need those little gains to be made. Mondo on the distance side for Brock, and then Brock sort of pushes Mondo's finishing wheels to be really on another level. And when it's as close as less than a quarter of a second getting in, you're grateful for that. But especially in championship races, having that capacity to shut the door over the last half mile or 1K, that's really what separates the folks that are going to be, leaving with a trophy and those that, might just be qualifiers on that side of things. Armando's really a fearless racer. There's some guys in the field that have run under 14 minutes for 5K, so we could see it go very, very fast out the opening gates. Armando's capable of doing that and not panicking. That's the biggest thing, is you can put yourself into physical distress, but if he can stay psychologically calm and composed at that point, that's really what separates the people that can get through it from the people who can really do it. So we think we're really on the upswing. He had a great weekend at the conference championships, and he's run races that have been steady from the get-go, and he ran the 3,000 at the conference meet. It was a race that was very controlled for the first K, and he was able to accelerate and move very well. The only guy that beat him there was a guy that's in the top 10 in the country in the 3K. So knowing that you can play ball with an elite level guy at a faster distance makes us really confident for if it is a fairly controlled tactical race in the early part. We're confident that whatever comes, Armando's going to put himself in the mix in the right spot. It's a rare thing to have somebody qualifying for this meet. It's not uncommon that years go by and on one or both genders, you might not be representative of the national meet. And we do a lot of long-term goal setting every season, and this is something that's been on the radar screen for Armando for a long time. So to see him arrive there and to more significantly see him sort of reap the rewards of all the work that he's put in over the last months and years, truly, that's a really fulfilling thing. And I think that carries forward to the way we want to operate with the program, where it's not about instant gratification. It's if you do the right things consistently over the long term, the payoff is going to be there. We don't know when it is, but it's very, very satisfying when it does come. So it's when you get to the highest levels, you've got to have the work ethic and the drive, but you've got to have gotten fortunate with winning the genetic lottery and picking your parents well. And Mo's just got the complete arsenal talent-wise. Last year she provisionally qualified for nationals in 5 events, including the distance medley relay. And that's not something you run into all the time. And as athletes mature, and especially as we grow on the training side of things, the big focuses are we can continue to improve those aerobic capabilities and move up the ladder to the longer events successfully, and then being able to have that finishing speed where, again, whether it's a fast pace or a tactical event, knowing that you've got someone that is, Moriah is probably about 4 or 5 seconds faster than a lot of those women over a flat-out quarter mile. So when we combine that fitness with a finishing speed, it really is that sort of recipe from being a very good middle distance runner to hopefully we're progressing over the rest of our career to be one of the best long distance runners in the nation. Yeah, we were really lucky to be able to come off the cross country season and 2 weeks later be able to run a very comfortable qualifying time out at Grand Valley in early December, and that let us be really flexible and not sort of having to come back and panic and rush to get a time. So it's allowed us to be a little bit more patient and methodical building up. There'll be a lot of folks that have had really aggressive indoor seasons where they've been, trying to get tune-up races in, run their qualifier, and then put on a big heavy workload at the conference meet and the national meet. By the end of that, that's sort of on the end of the downslope for them. Moriah, very much we've been both of that early qualifier and just the way things have played out, a little bit more patient and with the goal of being sort of on that upswing during the last week and a half or so. That's really been the primary focus. Anything else that came throughout the season is a really great bonus, but it's really just being able to take the time and do things the right way, and we're hoping that's going to pay off. I think she's, putting herself in the mix and sort of being able to read the race. The women's 5K is a really incredible range. There's, more than a minute between the first qualifier and the last qualifier. So we could really see a lot of different races, and it's going to take a lot of racing savvy. And that's where Mo's skill set of having run a time that's top 8 in the country means that if it's fast, she's going to be in the mix for one of those spots. If it's a more controlled and tactical race, knowing that, she's got a faster quarter mile PR than I do. So I like her chances if the rest of the field is really patient and sort of holds off early on. So, I think if she runs a very controlled race and sort of within herself and trusts that capacity to finish, I don't think coming home with hardware is a bit of a reach at all. So.